What's up, Card Fighters? Ryan here from Vanguard Central, bringing you another episode of Cardfighters Network. Stay tuned.
Stand up, Vanguard!
So today we're going to be talking about 4 grade 3s. And is 4 grade 3s too low? There are a couple of decks out there that do run 4 grade 3s or a very minimal amount of grade 3s, which are pretty insane. So for the top decks, we do have Sanctuary Guard, No Seal, and you can get a few Great Natures in there as well. And other decks that do run maybe like 5 to 7 grade 3s, such as Thing Blaster or even 7Cs, anything like that that can probably get a consistent grade 3, are kind of good decks because they leave more space for cards that do work in the mid game. So a lot of these mid-range decks and early game decks tend to be really powerful just because they run a low count grade 3. Personally, I think 4 grade 3s is really good, but it depends on what deck you're running. It's good if you can consistently get your grade 3 that you need and also stride on top of that. Because if you're running less the grade 3s than usual, then you would have less stride fodder, for example. To me, I think, especially in this meta in any stride-based deck, you would want to run max stride fodder just because you're not having as much grade 3s as anyone else, where you usually run a typical 8 or 9. 7 to 9 is kind of like the normal count, but 8 is just right. So for me, you must max stride fodders. Like, you have to. There are less chances to stride the less grade 3s that you do run, so I definitely recommend maxing it, no matter what deck you're running. So there are a few decks that are pretty crazy with the 4 grade 3s. So for example, we'll talk a little bit about Sanctuary Guard. Sanctuary Guard and Royal Paladins in general have been known to be having a pretty stupid grade 2 game thanks to Banon and Future Knight Lu. So that whole blaster engine is pretty crazy, especially with Banon, because it gets you the back row unit. So to me, having low count grade 3s isn't too horrible in that deck because you're going to be playing a solid grade 2 game. And so the strongest grade 2 game, I believe, besides, Banon, you also have Future Knight Lu, and then for Angel Feather, for example, you do have the ponies, which are the 9k ponies and the grade 1 ponies. So they pretty much stop rushes because whenever they take damage, you get plus 2k power. And if that damage is a trigger, say you're on a grade 2 pony, Million Ray, and then you get damage trigger and your opponent has a 14k column on the other side, that 14 is not going to be able to hit anymore because you're at 16 if you get a trigger and you get that plus 2k from its own skill. So that's pretty stupid. And also Great Nature. Great Nature is pretty up there too for low count grade 3s just because of the new grade 1 that they have. Forgot his name, so I gotta look it up. And his name is Honorary Assistant Mikesaburo. Mikesaburo. There's my dog. What are you doing? So Mikesaburo is the grade 1 for Great Natures. Basically, he guarantees you a grade 3, which is pretty dumb. He's like the super duck bill. So that's why there are some funny decks that do run like 4 big belly. And so we're thinking that stride based decks would want to have the most opportunity to stride. So you'd feel like you'd want to run 8 grade 3s and 4 stride fodder, for example. But isn't Sanctuary Guard stride based? Right? Having the ability to max the playsets of that in a deck where you have more, a higher probability of getting these cards are really good. But it's also bad in a sense where if you go into the late game of the deck and you are not able to stride, then you have a lot of weak plays because Banon only makes 14, for example, and the counterblasts are super strong in that deck because you can counterblast 4 in a turn if you really had to, which is not good. Biggest deck that does run the low count grade 3s are No Seals. And I think No Seal is just amazing, especially because you can run Sariel. Sariel pretty much guarantees you the grade 3 if you haven't already gone into it. So you can max Sariel if you want to, because you can selectively put whatever card you need in the damage zone, and then you can use your starter to go ahead and swap it out for you and get that grade 3. It's pretty cool because you can run like the max stride fodder also, and you still have space for all these great grade 2 things. And you think that having the grade 3 is actually pretty low, but you get so much advantage off No Seal. I've seen that deck in action. It's insane. I kind of understand why it's topping because no one knows how to play against it, at least right now. So we're pretty much kind of weirded out by that Japan meta that only runs the 4 copies of No Seal. But I really feel that it's going to hit here in the US pretty soon. There are some variants that do run the same deck, but it's running with it. It's running it with Gavriel. because we're pretty scared to run less than 6 grade 3s apparently. So yeah, let me know down below, guys, what you feel about 4 grade 3s, or even anything lower than 8. You think 7 is okay? I still think 7's a good number as long as you're running, you know, some stride fodders in there, because at least you still have a good amount of 3s to pitch if you need to. So that was pretty much it for today's episode, guys. I know it was pretty quick, but anyways, like our video, comment down below if you guys have any questions. Let me know if you think 4 grade 3s is too low, and subscribe for more content. Vanguard Central, out.